Hi everyone. Here is Nico, a little foster bunny that I have, and he wants to read with us. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to have a little friend that is a little bit camera shy, but he's so cute and he loves snuggles. So I think he'll enjoy some time just being pet here. So let's go to our book. I was going to talk to you guys a little bit. I probably have mentioned it before, but it's worth repeating that some of the staff members and I are in a book club. So we have a meeting tonight, and we're going to do a Google Hangout. So that's what we did last time, and that's what we're doing tonight. And so there's, I think, 8 of us. Some are current staff members, some are past staff members that have left the school, but we still keep in touch and we still get together and do our book club. So there's myself, Miss Siggety, Mrs. Perry, Mrs. King, Miss G, Miss Yakamik, Miss Y, from kindergarten a couple years ago, and Mrs. Haran, for those of you who remember her, she is in the book club as well, and Miss Simons, and Miss Mulcahy, Miss Lasky, and I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. I think that's it. Okay, so anyways, we get together and we talk about the book that we're reading. So right now we're in the middle of Where the Crawdads Sing, and so far it's a good book. So I would recommend if you are interested. Now that one, I'm not sure if it's online anywhere or whatnot. I have Audible, and so you can download audiobooks, and I do pay for a subscription. So they do have some free options like through the Edmonton Public Library and whatnot, but mine is a paid subscription, and I have a lot of choices of books and whatnot. So I do like audiobooks. I can get a lot of stuff done while I'm listening at the same time. And but these days I know it's a little bit hard to come by books with the public library being closed and such. Okay, so back to our reading. So we are on chapter 20. And so let's see what's happening. And I'll try to balance a bunny. Okay. The tunnel was underway by the time I got into the shelter after school. Fritz had been let out earlier than me and was already hard at work. Where he could have barely fit his body inside the gap yesterday, now he had carved out a small cove about 2 meters deep. It was beautiful. I couldn't keep my smile from spreading. If you work that fast every day, we'll have supper with Papa and Dominic next week. Not in time for supper, perhaps, but we'll share their dessert. Fritz laughed and pulled from his pocket a letter from Mama. Before I could read it, he said, Oma Gertrude was worse than she thought. She sent a little money for groceries and expects to be there for at least another few weeks. This is the time we need, Gerda. I think we should try to have the tunnel built by then. There was a downside to his news, though. Fritz was wearing a new outfit, worker's overalls, and he had a set for me. Yours might be a little large, but it was the smallest size they had. I had to use Mama's grocery money to buy them. But why? Mine was brownish gray and the material was scratchy. I would have to stuff my skirt into the pant legs, which would make it even more uncomfortable. Even the hardest working farmer would never come home as dirty as we're going to get. These clothes need to stay in this room, and we'll put them on over our other clothes to work. That way, even if our hands get dirty, we won't draw nearly as much attention. And don't worry, we won't get hungry. Mama has some food saved up in the cupboards. If we're careful, we'll have what we need until she sends us more money. I'd looked in the cupboards that morning, and there wasn't as much as he made it sound like. But this tunnel was my idea, so I couldn't very well start complaining about it. I slipped the outfit on over my school clothes and zipped it up. It feels like I'm playing dress-up in Papa's old clothes, I said as I tried to roll the pant legs higher. Fritz laughed again and helped me with the sleeves, then went back to work. He pointed behind us to a bucket with a handle. Your job will be to get rid of this dirt the best you can. The bucket will get heavy if you fill it too full, so just scoop in as much dirt as you can carry, dump it out in the basement above us, and come back for more. Again, I wasn't too excited about that idea, but he was right. Fritz would dig much faster than I could, and someone did have to remove this dirt. Without complaining, I set to work at my end of the job. A lot of dirt was already piled up in the shelter, so I tipped the bucket to its side, pushed dirt in until it was halfway full, and then hooked the handle over my arm to walk up the ladder. Once at the basement level, I peered around to be sure we were alone, then climbed the rest of the way up. I emptied the dirt into the farthest corner. A lot more dirt was going to fill this room, and it was better to use the space wisely. Then back down I went. Oh, there's Mr. Ben. By the time I did all that, Fritz had loaded 5 or 6 times that amount of dirt into the room. I needed to work faster. So I did, but it didn't take many more trips and up and down the ladder to realize I'd never be able to keep up with him, and I was already getting tired. Maybe Fritz's job required more muscle, but I became convinced that mine was harder. I filled the bucket with as much dirt as I could possibly lift, and then had to balance that while climbing a ladder. After only an hour, my arms were beyond tired and my legs were worse. I became thirsty, and the overalls were so warm, I wondered how long it would be before I baked in them. Fritz eventually noticed me slowing down and told me just to stay up top and empty the bucket for a while. He would do the work of filling it and climbing the ladder. His buckets were more full than mine had been, so after only a few trips, he doubled the size of our dirt pile in the room. After an hour of this, he handed me another bucket and said, "Most of the dirt that I dug out is emptied. Do you think we should quit for the night?" Yes. If he was going to end his sentence any other way, I wasn't interested. Come back down into the shelter, Gerda. You need to see how far we've gotten. The hopeful tone of his voice gave me new strength to my legs, and I hurried back down the ladder. As tired as I was, I still thought it was the most fabulous thing I had ever seen. We were probably at least as far as the exterior wall of the Welcome Building, which meant if we were up on the surface, we would now be openly standing inside the death strip, somewhere between those two impassable walls of East Berlin's border. We still had a long way to go. I wasn't kidding myself about that, but the rest of our digging went well as today. But if the rest of our digging went as well as today had gone, we would be to the other side in no time, maybe even farther. Why bother stopping once we're in West Berlin? I said, laughing. Couldn't we keep tunneling until we've reached France? Absolutely, he said with a grin. I'll make that tunnel come up right beneath the Eiffel Tower, and we'll have the most original view of it anyone ever has seen. We laughed at that as we stripped off our overalls and hung them over the bench on the other side of the shelter. We set the bucket and shovel beside them, then climbed the ladder and replaced the heavy door over it. There's no point in covering this door with dirt, I said. I had done that in past visits to hide the door in case someone did happen to look in here. But now, if someone looked in, they were bound to see the piles of fresh dirt in the corner. They'd know right away that something was up. We wouldn't be able to hide the evidence of our tunnel. All we could hope was that nobody would look. Fritz agreed with me and then said it was extra important that we replace the boards over the windows so they look undisturbed. Maybe I'll even reinforce them with new boards, he said. I'll make it impossible for someone to peek inside. After we got out into the evening light, we realized the overalls might have protected our clothes, but our faces and hands were both smeared with dirt. This won't do, Fritz said. We look like we've been tunneling. Nothing else could explain our appearance. I pointed to the pond at the far end of the dirt patch and the irrigation river running through it. The problem was that to get there, we'd have to leave the shadow of the wall. Fritz looked around us. They'll see our footprints here. Better they see them all over like a gardener's would be, instead of only near the building. We have to take the risk at some point. If they come, then we'll show them where we want to put the garden. I straightened up beside him, and though my legs felt numb, we casually walked toward the pond. Once there, we lay on our stomachs and washed our hands, arms, and faces. So far, nobody had come. Maybe this was okay with the guards. Maybe. We would have washed more, but dark was coming fast, and we knew the guards in the watchtower would have spotted us by now. They didn't seem to mind that we were standing on this land, but their feelings would change after curfew, which was strictly enforced. It was time to go. Tomorrow we must bring water to drink, I told him as we hurried home. Yes, that and some food. A smile started in the center of my heart and warmed every inch of me. No matter how hard today had been, how hungry, tired, and thirsty we both were, Fritz planned to tunnel again tomorrow too. All right, so I'm going to stop there at chapter 21. And then next time I'll probably read 2 chapters because it looks like 21 isn't a really long one. So next time I'll probably read 21 and 22. Okay, so signing off from me and this little cutie. Bye. Bye, grade 6s. I miss you.